What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fright Film Freaks. Here, with my man Steven. Steven, say what up.
What is going on?
Oh, we're chilling, man. We're chilling. This episode is on the Crooked Crypt YouTube channel, and it is brought to you by absolutely nobody because we don't have any ad revenue, anything like that. So make sure you go support Crooked Crypt to support us. You know what I'm saying? It's the only way to do so. It is July 3rd. It's not July 3rd, but when this drops, it will be July 3rd, which can only mean one thing. We're talking about one movie only here. Return of the Living Dead, 1985, my friends. A true classic, true classic. Steven dislikes this movie very much, so
Man, whew, that's like the biggest fib you could ever tell about me and a movie, man.
is this your favorite horror movie or no?
This is my favorite movie of all time.
All time, all
Of
time.
all
Okay.
time. And
All
it's
right.
been my favorite movie of all time since like 1991 or 92.
Right, right. I mean, this movie's got a little bit, just to jump in, this movie's got a little bit of everything, right? It's got a little comedy in there. It's got some generally creepy shots. Some of the best special or practical effects I've ever seen, right? I don't
Oh yeah.
know if you could, I mean, there's obviously a few movies that I would put maybe ahead of this, but not very many. The Thing being one of them, probably just because it's like so outlandish that,
Yeah.
but I really feel like if this director and this production company made The Thing, it would be wild. You know what I mean? And but yeah, I mean the a little funny, little creepy, little great practical effects. I mean, great story. Very different from like a lot of like other zombie flicks. You know what I mean? They kind of go the other way on this one. And a misleading title, to be honest. Return of the Living Dead, which would I think would make you think that this is a sequel to a Romero zombie movie like Night of the Living Dead or something like that, you know what I mean? But it's just it's just kind of a misleading title there. Yeah, mostly just kind of talking about, the dead are returning, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, this got a little bit of everything. And what is I mentioned Night of the Living Dead, and it's there is some shout outs in the movie to that, with that opening, that kind of dialogue that they have. He tells that story, and it's kind of like, that it's based on real events, and there was this gas that released and reanimated corpses and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of connection, but it's just more of some silliness, I think, rather than fact, you know what I mean? So.
Do you imagine in 1985, like people were watching this, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Is that true? You didn't. I mean, the internet did not exist then,
Mhm.
and word of mouth, and
Right.
holy smokes, I bet you had people like, wait a minute, is this? And then Return of the Living Dead zombies were a lot scarier than George Romero's zombies.
Sure,
I
sure.
know he's the godfather of the living dead,
Yeah, you can only do
but
so much in the 60s, right? Like you did some makeup, some bruised up makeup here and there, but you didn't really get like these rotting corpses like you get now. So
yeah,
and not to mention this might be the first movie I saw, maybe the only where zombies talk, right?
yeah, they have a conscience in this one. Then they don't
Yeah.
have a conscience in any other ones. Maybe in the 28 Days trilogy, kind of. I mean,
Yeah, which is
but
really not zombies, right? That's more of a viral virus
yes,
movie.
that's
So
exactly.
so still
Though it,
coherent in those, you know what I mean? But
I just saw a top 10 top 10 zombie movies, and 28 Days Later is number one.
mhm.
Return of the Living Dead did not make the list, which I was
It's
very
tough.
salty about. Very salty,
Yeah,
considering
it's tough.
28 Days Later is not a zombie movie, right? It's
It's a virus movie.
a
Yeah, it's an
viral
infection.
infection.
It's an
Yeah,
infection movie, which I
exactly.
mean, I guess you could think it's kind of a subgenre of zombies, but it's not zombie in the classical sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I would put this as one of my favorite zombie, probably one of the best, just in general, not even my bias opinion about it, but probably one of the best zombie movies. I think I would put Dawn of the Dead, the original, is my number one. Um, but this would land two or three. This is in top five for me for sure. Um, so I mean, yeah, it's kind of crazy that it wouldn't make a list. You know what I mean? There's only so many zombie. I mean, there's at least 100 zombie flicks, right? And there's some that are really, really bad. There's some that are really, really good. Um, it's kind of up there with like a the classic creature features where they've been done so many times. You know, that subgenre is so huge. You could almost have zombie movies as its own thing, separate from horror. You know what I mean? Um, but this one just kind of like rewatching, I kind of noticed like it kind of ups the stakes of other zombie movies because you have like not only do like when they release the gas, does like do corpses come, but everything like in the room comes to life. You know what I mean? I mean, you have like half cut in half dogs. You have all these weird things. Not to mention they talk. They and then when you really you can't even burn them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where or in the traditional sense of zombie movies, you can't just take a blow to the head and kill them. You know what I mean? This is they're every part of the reanimated corpse is alive. So if you cut off the arm's coming after you. You take off the head, the body's still coming after you. If you try to burn them, the ash goes into the air and comes down like acid rain and then reanimates anything else. You know what I mean? So the stakes are a little bit higher in this type of movie, as creepy and funny as it is and kind of quirky, you know? Um, and adding the effect of them speaking. Their mind is kind of like this really like one of my favorite scenes. Obviously, the Tar Man is like probably the most iconic scene
Mm.
in this movie, but that scene where they have the half animated corpse strapped down to the table and they're kind of asking it questions, kind of running their own experiment on it is actually, first of all, a really well done scene. The animatronic practical effect is incredible, but also just the dialogue is great. Like her being, you know, I can feel myself rot, you know what I mean? Like, and gives you this creepy, eerie feeling that death hurts. You know what I mean? Which is
Oh
like a
yeah.
kind of a creepy thing to think about, you know? When I was rewatching, I was like, oh, I think I was so obsessed with like the animatronic and the practical effects of it that I kind of forgot like that's a creepy thing to think about. Like if death hurts, that adds a little bit of stakes too. You know what I mean? Now you don't want to be dead. Now you don't want that feeling of, you know, they eat brains because it makes the pain go away, you know? Just a underrated creepy that gave me a creepy feeling, you know?
Oh yeah, man. These zombies, these are the worst zombies to go against, man. They're
Yeah.
smarter. I mean, they could run,
Yeah.
and I mean, they're telling jokes at the same time, man. And
And they look terrifying.
yes, yeah. Special effects for 1985, man. It's just
And they're
so good.
going not just for flesh, they're going for your brain. So like if you get caught up, that's what they're going for. You know, they're going straight for
Yes.
the head first, which is a tough thing to start with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, teeth must get stronger the more
Right.
dead we are because man, a skull is a pretty flippin' thick,
Right.
piece of our body, you know.
And
So,
having some of the reanimated corpses just be like skeletons as well, you know, like withered away, friggin' weird looking skeleton people. Um, but just like the difference in all of the zombie, they don't just, you know, with like the classic Night of the Living Dead, you get very they almost look like because the makeup was so limited back then that you get they all just looked like pretty like I guess I would say like they haven't been dead for very long. You know what I mean? They give off that even when they're coming out of the ground and the graves, they're still like their skin's still there and they look a little greenish and bluish, but like, you know, they all kind of look the same. But in this one, you get, you know, a bunch of different looking zombies
oh
that,
yeah.
you know, you can kind of play around with. It must have been a blast on set, you know, even just for the actors to you know, react to those different types of makeup and stuff like that. It must have been cool.
Yeah, man. And I mean, they. as far as into like the zombies that turn, so like, the infamous trash,
Right,
dude, she is just dude, sexy as can be. And then she,
right.
she's got the famous scene where she's like, talking about the way she wants to die, and it happens, and she just comes back to be the original baddie. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
Whoa, dude. I mean, with that homeless man come, that scene with a shot where she's coming out of the fog, and
Oh
the
man.
homeless man is playing the flippin' soundtrack of the year, man.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. This zombie movie has the best soundtrack out of any zombie movie ever, man.
Definitely.
Cause wow,
Well, because
dude,
you're kind of like this is a party movie, right? So you're like you
yes,
just combining it with that style of 80s punk rock and roll and just this party vibe, you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of other zombie movies are just a score itself, you know. Here you actually get a great soundtrack as well. Yeah, and Lena Quigley was great, you know what I
oh,
mean? Like, I mean, incredible.
legend,
Yeah,
legendary.
for
Oh
sure.
my
I mean,
gosh.
everybody's great in this. This is just an all around good cast, all around good movie. Um, you got Tom Matthews in there, obviously, and
Oh man.
it's just a cool vibe where you have this like party going on outside, and then you have this massacre going on inside, and then they kind of collide, it's like the business world and the party world kind of clash together in this a little bit, and you add just this gas that's horrifying, and then obviously you get everything that happens, but that main sequence of him telling the story at the beginning, like kind of tying it into Night of the Living Dead, is actually like a creepy story as well. Like it kind of gives you the shivers a little bit.
Absolutely.
um and then this movie obviously just being iconic for the day before 4th of July. What a weird choice, you know what I mean?
I love it though, man. I mean,
I know it's
because
it's cool. It's kind of
yeah,
created its own holiday, that
yeah,
everybody in the horror
absolutely.
genre just kind of celebrates. Now instead of just, if you're American, you get 4th of July, but you also get the day before, which this year is great because we got it on Thursday, and then, we got 4th of July on Friday, so we get holiday, then the weekend. This is like
Oh man.
this is gonna be a great week. You know what I mean? Just living up to that. So,
John, I'm gonna have to check on you on Sunday, man,
oh, it's gonna be
because
bad, brother.
yeah, I'm gonna have to
4th of
check on
July, I'm
you.
gonna be in the pool. I'm just gonna send you a text. Breathe. I've
Yes.
always wanted that mask too. I'm a collector. Everybody knows who watches this channel that I'm a collector
Yeah.
first, and I'm a movie nerd first. Um, I want Tar Man so bad. Like I wish it would honestly be awesome for them to sell that entire costume. He that that makeup was ahead of its time, dude.
Oh,
Like when you
dude.
first see him, they pull the curtain, they pull the sheet, and he's just like, you're just like, and when he
The
says
way he
brains, you're like,
moves.
yeah,
Oh,
dude. I mean,
yes.
incredible job. Like, but you just didn't expect it. You know
No.
what I mean? When you see that for the first time, you're like, whoa, man. Like, I've never seen this in theaters. I really hope I get a chance to do so.
Oh,
Um,
that would be
I
amazing.
mean, just to see him on the big screen or even at like a drive-in would be cool. I unfortunately here in Maine, we got like one drive-in movie theater left. They've all closed down because it's just that era sadly is dead. But man, I would love to see him on the big screen. Just controlling the screen. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
that good.
Did you get a chance to watch it in 4K?
I did not,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I'm still, hey, the week is young, my friend. This
Yeah.
is there's gonna be a viewing again. You got to watch this on Thursday as well, right? Like, we can't just watch it now just for the podcast. Like we gotta
Exactly.
this has to be watched again. I mean, this isn't the only time I'll be watching this movie, so or even talking about it. July 3rd, I'll just be out in my pool. I'll be
Yeah.
getting my Tar Man. Can we make a song and do a Tar Man dance? Like I feel like get our Soldier Boy on, but do Tar
Yeah.
Man instead. I
Yeah.
feel like we got to
John,
do
make
that.
this happen, brother. I mean, you're the one with the beats,
Do
man.
the Tar
So,
Man. Do the Tar Man. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Do the
dude.
Tar
I'm
Man. Do the
in.
Tar Man. Then
Take
you
my money.
then you edit
Take
in
my money.
brains. Do the Tar Man. Do the Tar. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling
I
it.
Dude, yeah, like you said, the special effects were great.
Oh man,
Definitely
incredible.
ahead of his time. I mean, of course, we all know practical effects rule. Oh, I don't care how good CGI gets.
Right.
Practical effects is just still going to rule the nation, the kingdom.
Yeah.
And
And that's not to say there isn't some really good movies with CGI, but still, like they would be
ah,
better. They would still
I'm
be better
sorry.
even without
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Just incredible. When you can really dress someone up and have a good makeup artist on set, and that's the stuff we're gonna lose. Me and you have talked about a lot about AI lately and how that's kind of
Yeah.
gonna be, the next 10 years are gonna be a really weird transition in film. And we're gonna lose a lot of stuff like this. So as horror fans, we really need to cherish it, first of all.
Yes.
Really cherish the old movies. I mean, we've only done like what, one new movie on this podcast, I think. Um,
Yeah, and that was a really good one. So, I mean, and it didn't have any CGI. I don't think it has CGI in it at all either. It didn't
no,
need
it
it.
didn't.
So,
It didn't. But we've mainly focused on older classics for this. Not saying we won't do some new stuff in the future, but we've focused basically on the classics on this podcast so far. And I really think we need to cherish movies like this because we're going to see a really weird transition here in the next 10 years with film. Um, I really hope we don't have makeup artists and editors and actors lose jobs because of this whole AI thing, because I do think, in my personal opinion, there is a good side to it, but it just feels like it's a little bit of a way to cheat the system. You know what I mean?
absolutely, man.
I
It's
really
definitely a
bel
corner cutter.
I really
Corner
believing
cutter.
it. I really believe that it can help, but I don't want it to take over. You know what I mean? You're going to lose movies like this. You know what I mean? And you're going to lose a lot of good people in the industry to stuff like AI. And we got to make sure we cherish movies like this and cherish that practical effects side and makeup artists and monster makers and all that kind of stuff because it's gonna be a weird transition, dude. We're getting the new Return of the Living Dead remake.
Ooh,
Um,
is that a remake? I love it how they're kind of keeping almost everything under
yes, I'm not
wraps.
sure. I say remake. I might be off on that. I'm not sure, but we do get a little bit of Tar Man in there, so
Oh,
looks like it's at least going to be kind of a requel, right? Maybe
yes.
some same type of characters, but a little different. But let's hope that we can still get some practical effects. I don't know how you do a reboot of this movie and not do that. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping
Yeah.
we don't make it too flashy, in that sense. But we'll see.
I really hope they bring Tom Matthews back.
Be great. That would be great.
I mean, that would just be amazing. I mean, they brought him back for the sequel, and
Hmm.
actually, I asked him about that, and it's such a great story. But we're not talking about part two. We're talking about part one. I do have a question. If you were, who's your favorite character in this movie?
I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. This is going to be a throw out, but Alan Trotman, who plays Tarman, is my favorite in this, even though he's not on screen as himself. Like he is. Like I would, he's older now. He's 70, so it's like you can't play Tarman again. You know what I mean? But I wish that we got one like sooner so he could play Tarman again. Because I don't know how you're gonna recreate that scene and that monster. Um, and then Lena as Trash is great in my
Gosh,
opinion.
she's so great. I would have to say, easily Freddy's gonna be my favorite, man. I mean, dude, when he just turns, man, and he's talking to Tina, and dude, that famous Tina,
Right,
you made
right,
me
right.
hurt my hand, dude. That's such great dialogue, man. And dude, Tom Matthews is, dude, he's the shit, man. I mean, he's an amazing dude,
Yeah.
and
I mean, you have all these actors that are in these same franchises. What's up with that? You know what I mean? Like you get
yeah.
and you're right. I would love to see Tom come back for this remake. Do you think he will though?
Oh, dude,
Because I mean, you're part of
I'm
the
sure if
Friday
they
the
invited him,
13th with him as well, with Nunez as well, and like not the at least the same franchise. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So how do you? But would he be willing to do that? Because he's kind of been doing like these fan made films. You know what I mean? Going back to that situation, and this is probably going to be you would think was is going to be a bigger budget. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you have to bring him back. It's funny because I just mentioned it, but they brought him back because those two characters were brought back to the sequel because um, the Japanese audience loved them so much, and in order to like, they just brought them back just as a revenue standpoint, so they could advertise them guys. They're back for the sequel, and it
Right,
was
right.
so well done. I mean, I love the second one. I mean, hell, I even love the third one. That part four and five that came out in the early 2000s, we'll just pretend those never existed. So, but this, I mean, the first one is just great. Man, when let's talk about
Wait, you talking about
spoilers.
you're talking about the remakes, the sequels to Return?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the
I don't.
second one was what, like 88 or something?
Yeah, yeah. The second one was great, and third
Hmm.
one was like early 90s. I mean, it screams 90s, and then they made a fourth and fifth one in like the early 2000s.
Yeah,
And I mean, those were just a disaster. But like I said, we'll just pretend like those never came to see the lights.
yeah,
But I mean, this movie's great because you know, back then, happy endings ruled the world. Every movie had just like a movie, like as far as in everyone, oh, we all got out, we're saved. And then this one, man, they're like, spoilers. They call the army, like, oh, they got a solution for this, and then the solution's a nuke,
right.
and it's just yeah, hey, we're just gonna take out this part of Louisville, Kentucky. I always thought too that was so random. Louisville, Kentucky was like the place it took place.
Mm. Yeah, kind of odd. I mean,
Yeah.
all around it, the whole story is kind of odd,
Yeah.
and like kind of takes from other like films of the 80s as well too. Like, I don't know, just him like showing him like the guy, like what's his name, he likes his job because he likes to see the dead bodies. Like he thinks it's cool. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's such a weird thing, you know what I mean?
He's just a regular creepy guy who works at a warehouse of medical supplies.
Right, right. Yeah, very odd. And I mean, even Nunez like looks, he looked the same in the 80s in like every movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
he had like that
He had like the Jerry curl.
Jerry Curl kind of mullet. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, he
yeah, he's
like,
cool, man. He's cool, dude.
well,
I
it's like kind of
mean,
why I mentioned like the enchilada scene from Friday, and then you have like he does the whole duet scene there, and then like he's not the same character, but he's like
he could honestly be the same
he
character.
looks like you dropped him
Whoa.
out of that. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna say maybe it is the same character, but they both die. Well, maybe he g-
Well,
he
on Friday
lives.
Friday they
He,
do like the duet in the bathroom, right? Or he's on the toilet. And what other movie do you have a duet like while you're on the in an outhouse? You know what I mean?
did you ever see Joanna Man with him in it?
Of course, it's
Dude,
unbelievable.
I know. It's
Well, that's great.
what an incredible movie.
When he's just
This
smacking asses and I mean it's so funny.
he's so g- Oh my gosh.
But he
But
like looks like the same character and
oh dude,
in
we
part
just
five and then in this movie where he's like I guess I would say he's like because he's what in this movie like the leader of the punks a little bit, right? Like he's the leader.
I would thought Freddie was the leader.
You think?
Yeah, well they're all getting together to pick up Freddie, right?
Right, right,
And they're like, oh, and they make references. Oh, Freddie's gonna know what to do because they're
right,
bored. They seem like they're missing the leader. And Freddie was the man. I guess Freddie was just trying to get good, get a job. Him and
right.
Tina are gonna get a place maybe, but but that just doesn't end up well. I mean, but I love this movie because I'll never forget the first time I watched it. By this time I've already seen Night of the Living Dead, and I've already the remake Night of the Living Dead was already made with Tony
Right.
Todd, and that's a great movie too.
Yeah.
Uh, but this one, man, I just remember, just like you said, the music was great. The cat had comedy. The zombies could run. The special effects were great. Tarman, dude, who
Yeah.
Tarman's just iconic. So it's just that nostalgia of this movie, man. I just love it. And it didn't really get that cult following until like the early 2000s.
Right.
Because I remember they didn't have shirts. They didn't have, I mean, this movie was like near impossible to find.
Yeah.
I remember I had to rent it several times, and I know it used to have a run in I want to say HBO used to run it quite a bit, and then Sci-Fi had a censored version where it would run it. But any chance I could get to watch this, I would take the chance.
Yeah.
We're spoiled now because we have everything at the tip of our fingers. But dude, this movie's just I could watch it over and over again, man. I will. If I have a chance, I will watch it on July 3rd.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely will. Um,
Yeah.
That'll probably be the first thing I do when I get out of
That
work.
4K that 4K version is very clean,
Yeah,
very nice.
I gotta pick that up.
The audio is the biggest difference I notice.
Really?
Very yes.
Yeah, because I was gonna say even like the original version, obviously it was probably remastered a bit when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, but like it just looked good because
Oh, it's
the
so clean.
effects are so good.
Yeah.
You could sell you could tell a lot of the movie is movie sets, you know what I mean? But like what wasn't in the 80s, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Um, but like yeah, I think it just has its own place where I think mostly zombie, and I think we've talked about this before, where a lot of zombie movies have like underlying themes to them, where, Dawn of the Dead was very much about consumerism, and
Hmm.
that's why it's in a mall, and you have all, there's something in their brain telling them to go back there, you know what I mean? Because that's where they spent a lot of their time consuming, and it's very political kind of, and then
Absolutely.
you have Night of the Living Dead, which was very, had a little bit about some racial issues in there and things like that. You have a lot of movies like that. And then this one doesn't really have an underlying theme, but it
Nope.
also matches what it's trying to do perfectly. Like it's this 80s party movie. And that's exactly what was happening in the 80s. Like 1985 is I mean, it was a party year, And like you had great movies, great music coming out. You had great movies coming out. You had a certain style, like styles, people were trending in different directions. Before this, you had like the 70s that was, like there was some different styles and stuff like that, but this was like the punk rock age is coming into its own, rock and roll, fucking hair metal. You have all this like weird stuff coming like together, but like people are looking very different. You know what I mean? There's a stylistic like this movie has style. I guess is what I'm just trying to say in
Oh
my mind.
yeah. And the theme was partying, man.
Exactly.
We're gonna party. Even the zombies were partying. Send more cops.
Yeah,
Oh
and
man, it's classic.
you had like every any zombie that had a good amount of screen time was its own thing,
Yeah.
which I think is very different from any other zombie movies where they're more like a conjoined herd in every other zombie movie, right? And in this movie, any zombie that was had a lot of screen time was its own like entity. It was completely different. You had like the skeleton looking dude. You had the girl rotting on the table that was in half. You have Tar Man. You have like all these different looking zombies that are coming together to like in this one movie. So you're kind of like, whoa, like what am I looking for here when I'm trying to kill something? What you're trying to get out of this situation. What are you looking for? What's coming next?
Yeah.
And like I said, this movie ups the stakes a little bit, whereas how they can be reanimated, how hard it is to kill them, all those kinds of things. And then you have just like a little bit of comedy in there with all of it.
I
So
it's really cool because you mentioned like because Suicide, the character Suicide is in part five, Friday the 13th as well too. He's the guy who, he's like throwing the axe and he hacks the other guy.
right, right.
Um, and but my question about that is, you know, Trash, she turns so fast, but he was still lying on the ground. I always wondered why didn't Suicide turn after Tarman bit him?
I don't know.
You ever wonder that? Like I was actually watching it yesterday. I rewatched it yesterday, and I was like, wait a minute. I always used to wonder that as a kid. Like why didn't old Suicide turn? I thought he would be a cool zombie.
Right. But did she get bit in the head?
I don't know.
Or
Why
did
she had
he or did
she
he
had
get
to because she got attacked. He got bit in the head,
Yeah,
but she
yeah.
got attacked by like
So
20 of them. So
so
I'm
that's
sure she got
weird.
bit in the head.
Well, I was just kind of trying to say like I couldn't remember if he got or if she got if that's what made you turn, if it had to be the head. You know what I mean?
She had to. I mean, well, he got bit in the head. And so I don't know. That was just a question.
Well, like does it matter? You know what I mean? Because this is so off the walls bonkers where like
Oh,
regular zombie
absolutely
movie
not.
you get bit in the finger or you know, you think of 28 days later, you get a drop of blood in the eye you're turning. In most zombie movies, you get a scratch you're turning, you know. This one
Yeah,
was a little bit different. It was kind of off the walls of all those typical, like
they make the
those
rules.
typical rules, you know what I mean? So I don't think it was like, I don't think there was anything that necessarily was like constant with it, even with the biting or the gas, you know what I mean? The gas definitely fucked you up, you know what I mean? But it was just,
Yeah.
but it was only reanimating corpses, you know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily everything, you know, or the living
So
affecting the living, right?
yeah, no, I got you. So I gotta ask, like, what would you rate this out of five? Five
Uh
pumpkins, five zombie
yeah,
pumpkins.
this 4.5 out of 5 for me, for sure.
Golly, listen to this guy, four
Four
and a
point
half.
four point five out of 5, baby. Yeah, I mean this is just a fun movie. And like this is what I like about rating movies is like everything's off a different level, I think. Like I'm not rating this the same on the same pumpkin scale as I'm rating Nosferatu or Heretic or you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
there's just a different it's a different set of rules, I think, when you're going towards these old movies. I can't remember what we gave like um what was it? What did we watch? What was the Christmas movie we watched?
Jack Frost?
Jack Frost. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
can't remember what I gave it, but like obviously those sets of rules and that 5 pumpkin whatever the rating was out of 5 pumpkins is not the same rating. I'm going to be a little harder on other movies, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I get it.
This movie to me is like I'm judging it off its how cool it was, how fun it was, how cool the practical effects are, you know what I
Killer
mean?
soundtrack. I
Killer
mean, let's not
soundtrack.
forget the soundtrack, man.
Yeah,
This
like it's being rated
soundtrack.
off I'm not saying I'm being lighter with the rating, but I'm being like it's just a different set of rules to me.
And one of the coolest posters, VHS covers of all time.
Oh my
Man,
God, yeah. Oh yeah.
man, legendary.
Well, that was back when you could like add some things into posters that may not have even like really been part of the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
man, dude, what a great art, man.
yeah,
It's
really cool.
amazing, man.
That was
Yes,
back when you were painting and drawing posters as well.
absolutely.
It wasn't just an edited type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it
Like they
was
are
important.
now.
It was important because the cooler the cover, the more videos it would
Well,
rent and
that was the
sell.
big thing, especially with a movie like this, where your main audience is going to be at home. It's going to
Yes,
be home video. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be. You're not trying to sell this movie in theaters. You know. Um, so yeah, I think you know something like that where you're going to look at it on the shelf is very important. You know. Um, and then just like taglines were huge. They didn't have to be this like what was it like they're
it's
back from the dead and ready to party or
yeah,
whatever
that's
it is.
exactly. You
Yeah,
nailed it. You nailed
something
it.
like that. You
And
know, it's
that was,
like
hey, that was the truth. They're
or
back from the dead.
back from the grave, maybe or something like that.
Oh, they're
Um,
yeah, it says yeah, they're back from the grave
yeah,
and
yeah.
ready to party. I
And
love
then
it, man.
and then the title on the gravestone, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like a cool little. Then you got like the punk rocker fucking zombies, you know,
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
like
And
your
one tag in the
typical.
gravestone.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah, just
so
super
cool,
cool.
man.
But like, yeah, you had to do that, and it's not like super intricate. It's just like a nice, well painted. I wonder who did that. I've never looked up who that artist was, but
Oh yeah, respect to them.
super cool,
Absolutely.
super cool. Because then
Yes.
you got like shortly after this, 5 years later, you get into the '90s, and then the poster art becomes like the teenagers on the front with
Ugh.
like, you know what I mean, with the top dog teenager at the top, you know, and then
Yeah.
you got your final girls, and it's all like real. It's just like photos put together, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then now I feel like the big thing is like editing real photos to look not cartoonish, I would say, but like, you know, like cartoonized almost, you know. It has that weird look to it that like almost like it's airbrushed, but you could tell it's a real photo, you know, but they like contrast it weird and they like
Mm.
saturate it and then they like put all these things together into one photo, you know. Um, I mean, artwork is still prominent in the horror genre more than
Yeah.
any other genre, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's why you see like older movies when they come back and release a 4K or a 50th anniversary, whatever, they have like completely different artwork, because that's what's going to sell to collectors for sure. It's switched from home video where you're trying to sell someone to, hey, what's going to make them pick the movie up off of the shelf, to now we're selling the nostalgia aspect of it to collectors and, you know, people who have three different versions of this movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I have two different versions, and it's like now I got to get the 4K, right? Because like it's
you
like
definitely need
completely
it.
like
You need
I
the
I can't
4K.
remember what the steel book looks like. I feel like we looked it up one time, but I feel like
It doesn't matter. It looks amazing. It's
yeah,
Return
that's
of
what
the
I'm
Living
saying.
Dead. Yeah.
But it's like a whole different um yeah, it's like a whole different, artwork. So it's
Okay.
like as a collector, you're like intrigued, like I have to have that one now, right? Like because I
Yeah.
have the regular poster, I have the regular cover art, I have, the Blu-ray when it came out on that, and then you need the Steelbook fucking 4K Ultra HD $80 version
You
with
need
it.
that one. You definitely need that
I
one.
do, yeah, that's a really cool one. And then you get Tarman on the front, which is dope. And then I think they have a couple different versions. They have the girl on like the yeah, 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 like that one. That one's so they have a couple different versions too, you know what I mean?
You need all of them.
I do. I do.
I'm gonna just say it. 5 out of 5, easy. All day, every day. It's my favorite movie of all time. So what do you expect, right?
Right,
So,
right, sure, sure.
what's crazy though is, when you talk to people who aren't like into the genre like we are, and they're like, "Oh, I never even heard of this movie." And I'm like, "What?" I remember that used to happen a lot when I was younger. I'm like, "All right, let's come over." No, pull out the VHS and slide it
Right,
in the VCR, and hour and a half later, their minds were blown. So
sure.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who did not care for this movie because, like you said, it's a party movie. It's fun, man. It's
Yeah, and I
nothing.
think most people saw it later in life, right?
Absolutely,
Like,
yes.
or even if they were a kid, it was still, I was born in '89, and like the first time I saw the movie, I was like 16 or 17.
Oh Lord,
I was older, you know what I mean?
you're late in
So,
the game. Late in the
yeah.
game.
Yeah. I mean, that was still a long time ago now.
Yeah, you are old. This is
I am
true.
old. Yeah, I'm getting there. Getting there. I turned 36 this month, buddy.
36. Excellent.
Yeah, July 11th, man.
Well, man, great movie, man. I mean, I probably won't ever give another movie a 5 out of 5, but I have to do this because, I mean, just everything about this movie is just great, man. It
Right.
still holds up, still the best.
Do you think a
I
lot
don't,
of do you think a lot of people in the group have seen this movie or no?
no,
Really?
no, I don't think, well, at least the people that I've actually asked, about 4 or 5 of them, they have not.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
no, exactly. They're in for a treat.
Be like watch it on July 3rd. That's how you
Yeah,
really insert yourself into the story.
yeah, absolutely. If you're watching this, do you agree this should be at least in the top 10
Right.
zombie movies? Because I was actually kind of annoyed that this movie didn't even make it, and like, you know, World War Z was in it. I'm like, what's
Oh,
going
that's a
on here?
God, that's a horrifyingly bad
I
movie.
mean, it's not the
It's action.
worst,
It's
but
action.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
right? But cool story, cool concept, but
Sure.
the Return of the Living Dead deserves its flowers, you
Yeah,
know.
and I don't even think that's being biased on your part. Like it is your favorite movie, but I think you're right. I'd be a little annoyed if I saw that too. It's like, wait, what are we talking about here? Like
Yeah,
who's
I
who's
was
making I mean, I guess that's like with all the lists, right? There are very few lists that come out and I'm like, what? You know, I'm never like, oh, that's perfect. You know.
well, I
And I'm
try
sure
not to, yeah.
people wouldn't, I would if I put together a top 10, people wouldn't agree with it, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
I definitely I'd be the first one in line that would
You know,
argue
it's
with your list.
it's
Absolutely,
it's very it's very
So
subjective, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I get it, but there are certain situations when you're talking like a subgenre like zombies where there's like the first five you got to get right, I feel like. They at least it's like there's the same rotation of five. If you're gonna consider 28 Days Later a zombie movie, then yes, I would put it in as the top five, but I don't know if it is.
yeah, that movie deserves to be in the top 10, not number one though. I
No,
mean,
yeah, no,
I
that's
mean,
crazy.
Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 remake was number two, and
That's a great movie as well. I mean, that's a great
yeah,
remake.
absolutely,
I
man.
like I prefer the original, but that remake is a good remake and it follows the story almost perfectly. Like you get a
Oh,
couple
so
new
good.
more modern characters, but like it's basically the same movie and it's fucking good. I mean, that scene in that movie with like when he's talking with the guy that owns the gun shop and they like play chess together and they're like on top of like basically writing on a big poster like what their moves are, and then like he kind of builds this connection with that guy, and then he
Yeah.
gets bit. You're like, oh man, like you feel sad, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I'd put both those movies in the top, at least in the top 10, the
Yeah.
remake and that one. I would put Return of the Living Dead in there. I would put Night of the Living Dead just because it's an OG.
Both, yeah,
Um,
both of them too. Both Night of
yeah,
the Living
yeah,
Deads.
yeah. And then I mean, I would, after that you get into like they get a little wild. You get City of the Living Dead, you get, Land of the Dead, you
We
get
just we're gonna forgive the Godfather of his last few of them. I mean,
yeah.
Diary of the Dead was a good one. Diary of the Living Dead was a good one.
Then you get like Fulci's Zombie in there, you know what I mean, which is like people consider that one of the better ones as well.
Oh yeah, people do like that one. I mean,
You
that's
get
got the famous flipping
the
cover.
yeah, yeah,
Famous
and you get
cover.
like you get like the zombie fighting a shark, which is wild. There's a lot of weird zombie
Now
scenes
you
out there,
lost me, and now you lost me. So
Yeah, you get a zombie fighting a shark, which is pretty wild.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, this is up there for sure. I don't know how you couldn't put it in there. I mean,
I just think that a lot of people haven't seen it. It's just the
which is
bottom line.
wild
Yeah,
because I mean, it's a great movie, and you just like it just kind of like opens the door up for just wild, crazy zombie movies that had never been made. I mean, Romero, like you said, gets a pass on a lot of the things because he basically created the genre, right? Like
The Godfather.
he's the
Yes.
godfather of zombies. So there's he was just, I think at one point he was like, I'm just trying to saturate the genre. You know what I mean? Like you
Do
just
you
got to do what you
imagine?
got to do.
Do you imagine how pissed off he was when this movie came out?
Oh man, like almost the same name. You know what I mean? Like
Oh man, I bet he was heated. I bet he got his lawyer on the phone. What can
probably
you do? And he's like,
right.
"Sorry, Georgie, nothing."
Nothing.
But
Yeah.
they made zombies cool, man. They made, and I'm excited for this project they got coming out at the end of this year, man. With that trailer with Tarman carrying
Yeah.
the
That little
Christmas tree.
teaser. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, a lot of potential, man. I'm excited,
Do you think
and
they do like December 3rd?
oh,
You know what I mean? Like, what do? You got to do some sort of call out, right?
or December 23rd, maybe. I don't
December
know. I don't know.
23rd, day
Yeah, I don't know.
before Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, I'm excited, very excited because that little snippet we got was just like, was really got my attention really fast.
Right, right. Yeah, it was good. It was good. He's dragging it. And you didn't get a good look at him, which is kind of cool. Have they put out
Yeah, you
something?
could tell who he was.
Yeah, have they put out anything more of him?
I have not. If did they have, I have not seen anything.
Because they were in some legal battles with this remake as well, I feel like.
Oh, were they? Hmm.
So they must have gotten past all that, obviously, if they put the trailer out. I mean,
Yeah, just give it to us. We need more brains.
yeah, yeah. The fact that
Yeah,
they could
man.
talk, I think, is a great thing.
Yeah, they
Like
have a
they're
conscience.
conscious. It's weird.
Yes,
It's really weird,
I
but it's
love it.
cool. But it's
I
cool.
love it, man. It's
Just
great.
because you get the brains, more brains, and then you get the I can feel myself rot, which is like just like such an iconic line. And I love that she just talks normally, even though she doesn't have any lips. But she says her P's and B's
Yeah.
perfectly.
Hey, hey, hey,
You gotta
hey.
draw the
Let's
line somewhere, right?
hey. People spoke properly.
Yeah. Very funny.
Oh man, what a great movie to review. Anyone, please
Yeah.
check it out. Let us know what you think, man. Tell us, please tell us if you think this deserves. I mean, number one in my opinion. John says number two in top zombie movies of all time,
Mm.
and I respect that, John. I mean, because Dawn of the Dead was,
Dawn of the Dead
I
is just iconic to me.
it's
I love that
amazing. I
movie.
love it, man. Yeah, I've seen both movies endless times, so and
Yeah.
I'll continue to watch them over and over. So, but great episode, man. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anybody in the comments, tell us what you think. Where does this rate in all zombie movies?
Yeah.
Do you leave out 28 Days Later? Do you leave out the infection zombie movies, or
No,
viral
you
virus
keep them
movies?
in there. They need to be where they're, number nine
They got to stay
out
in
of
their
top
lane,
10.
possibly though. They got to
Yeah,
stay in their lane
exactly.
a little bit,
Yeah,
Honorable mentions, maybe.
exactly, exactly.
But it's kind of its own thing. You don't have enough viral infection movies out there to like kind of create a subgenre yet, I don't think, but it's getting up there. I mean, there's a few others, not many, but there's a few others.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, great episode. Love this movie. This comes out on July 3rd. If you're watching this, it's July 3rd. So do your thing. Go watch the movie. after you watch this or watch it before, whatever you want to do, leave some comments. Make sure you subscribe to Crooked Crypt. We got more
Nice.
episodes on the way. This is our 10th episode. So I don't even know if I mentioned that in the beginning.
You
Episode
didn't.
10.
I held
Episode
up
10.
I held up the number 10
Yeah,
so
okay,
people would
cool.
know. So we're good.
I just thought you were excited. You were like,
Oh, hey, I'm excited too, praising, so because this
right.
movie is just legendary. So, but yeah, thank you again, John. We'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk, guys.